Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
What up, people? Welcome in and a very happy, wow, what is today? $2 Tuesday over at WagerTalk.com. And we are here, the play-in games. It is that time. We got a weekend of NBA playoffs, but we got to get through these final couple of spots first. And 2 games tonight. We're going to break down some of the angles here. We'll take a look at all of these series prices that we have, and we're going to do it, of course, with 3 of the best. The OG crew here with Ski Profit in the house, as well as Mr. Rob Vino and the one and only. That's right, Teddy Covers in the house, WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. And gentlemen, it took like 9.5 years, but hey, we have finally made it to the play-in game. No more having to try to figure out if we're back in Houston or not. Sorry, Robert. But listen, we've got still a lot to be decided here, Skee, heading into these play-in games today, tomorrow, and then of course we'll have one more round of games there to decide who's really going to be playing for a championship. Do you have, and I know you must, right? Shooter's going to shoot. You must have a lot going on over at your page at WagerTalk for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm getting heavily involved here. I have been slow to fire just because I was doing a lot of traveling this weekend and I lost some of my equipment. So I started to fire today. NBA's been treating me good lately. I know I've won 41 of my last 60. And so far today, I know I have at least a side, a total, a team total, player props. I'm heavily involved across the board. So let's get to it.
Love that. That's right. Ski Meister in the house, ready to roll here. Mr. Vino, I had asked you a little bit earlier here, the playoffs just upon us here. You've had a couple of days to take a look at it. What's available right now for the NBA playoffs over at your page at WagerTalk?
Well, we have a couple of best bets up and available, Joe. Now, those go for play-in games tomorrow night. 4% best bets. They've really been good over the course of the last 6 months, and especially where totals are concerned in all sports. So, once again, NBA play-in best bets up and available, WagerTalk.com for tomorrow evening. For this evening, I've got a couple of leans as well. We'll talk through these things, including the player props. So something could go up later on. But as of right now, a couple of best bets, as well as Major League Baseball. I don't want to leave that out real quick here. Major League Baseball has been off to a really good start, over 14.5 units of profit made so far during the young season. So MLB, NBA, WagerTalk.com.
All right, all available at his page at WagerTalk. And while you're at WagerTalk and/or Sports Memo for that case, make sure you're visiting good old Teddy Covers here. And Teddy, I believe a best bet tonight with these 2 play-in games. And how about Major League Baseball, of course, ready to roll here? What else you got for us?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Joe, I do have a single best bet available in the NBA for this evening. That'll be in the Hawks Heat game. When we break that down in a few minutes, we'll talk total, not side. Sides for the clients tonight. I do have a single play in Major League Baseball. And, of course, the NBA, still over 60% since February 2022, up 177.3 units. 67% in April, 65% the last 6 weeks. Last year in the playoffs, 66%, up 42.8 units. NBA's been good to me, and I expect it to keep rolling.
Listen, guys, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a big motto here on the show. And before we dive in to game 1 here tonight, we had we had Merrill and the guys on the show yesterday kind of taking a big picture look here, what we've got coming up in round one. And I wanted to get some of your thoughts here, Skee, as we've got future odds there. We've got first round prices, and the first round prices was an interesting discussion there because we've got a 6 seed that's, a $2.06 favorite over a higher seed there in Sacramento. But it appeared that the consensus was, whether you agree with it or not, that maybe the one that's going to be the best out of this, Knicks Cavs, maybe that's where the upset happens early in this first round. Skee, are you shocked by anything you're getting here in the first round as far as the series prices go?
Am I shocked? Absolutely not. Just to speak on that, Kings as an underdog, I mean, I get it. They've overperformed as far as, what everybody thought they would be this year. Their team was really good offensively, but when it comes to playoff time, you have to be able to get some stops too, and they really lack in that department. So Warriors getting a little bit healthier, seeing that they're getting Andrew Wiggins back into the rotation. I can understand why they're big favorites there. As far as which underdog, I mean, I think you can reflect it right there in the prices. Cavaliers, really good home team all season. Don't have a winning record on the road. So that could be a series that goes all the way down to the wire to Game 7. Maybe you take a game and a half with the Knicks there. Sixers and Nets, not surprising at all. With how the Nets have kind of, I want to say fallen apart, but maybe that's the wrong word. But they're just not the same team that we expect them to be when they started the year. And the Sixers should be able to handle them relatively easily, in my opinion. So I would think something like, and again, I haven't seen all of these numbers, but something like -2.5 games. I don't think the Nets win more than one. Clippers, Suns. I'll tell you guys right now, the Suns are a team. I don't trust either one of these teams, but I don't trust the Suns because they don't have the best chemistry. They don't have the same depth that they had. They have a lot of guys who are injury prone. Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, the longer the playoffs goes on, he gets injured. So I don't really trust them long term. I don't know that I trust them right now, but against a Clippers team that I also don't trust, a Clippers team who's also banged up, maybe that one's up in the air. So that's how I feel about what's on the screen.
I like that you said that, and I don't know, Will, if you got the future odds East and West side there, because it's interesting, Teddy. He said he don't trust the Suns. If you look at this set of teams here in the East and in the West, especially the West, give me a team, Teddy, here you absolutely do not trust here heading into the playoffs.
Most of them.
That's what I said.
Look, the Nuggets are the team to beat, all right? The Nuggets are the number 1 seed, and the Warriors are defending champs. And it's those two teams, in my mind, that deserve perhaps the respect that Phoenix is getting. That being said, you asked me who's in the Final Four, and I got the Suns in the Final Four. I got the Suns in the Western Conference Finals. But the Chris Paul factor, it's an excellent point by Skee. It's Chris Paul's not going to get better as the playoffs go along. That said, in the East is top heavy. It's the big two in the East, and then maybe Philly. And my only, we talked off air about any surprises or reactions to the series prices, and I said Philly's kind of cheap, and I just left it right there. But because I ain't gonna lay it with Philly. You could see if there's a team that's going to have a meltdown, it could be Philly easily as that squad. But at the same time, I think the Sixers are live to come out of the East. So, they're a team that could get shocked or shock everyone. So I guess I wouldn't be surprised, whatever. Philadelphia is a team that, in my mind, has a wide spectrum of potential outcomes.
It really is. Vino, I mean, you look across that board there, the East, it really is, like Teddy said, it's top heavy, man. But is there a team maybe that we might pleasantly be surprised at, either East or West, in these early rounds of the playoffs?
Well, I don't think you'll be surprised in the East. And just to put a definitive answer on what Teddy was talking about, Philly's going to do what they're supposed to do. They're going to beat the Nets, and they're going to get beat by the Celtics. So end of story. Doc Rivers will be the talk of sports radio here in Philadelphia. They'll go back to calling him Glenn, run him out of town. They'll want to run Harden out of town. There'll be a lot going on in Philadelphia after that second-round loss. It's hard to say it's a surprise, Joe, but again, I think it's been mentioned here, the Nuggets receive very little respect whatsoever nationally. And I can tell you right now, they're going to have home floor against the Suns if they both advance. I don't know that the Suns can beat the Nuggets 4 times. So I could easily see them getting to the Western Conference Final. The bottom half of the bracket will be great if, in fact, Draymond gets to play Ja Morant, Klay Thompson, Ja Morant. That whole Warriors-Grizzlies series would be fantastic. But Mike Brown and the Kings, we'll see what they can do there. A couple of bets here. I do think that Philadelphia, and Skee talked about it a little bit, laying 2.5 games with the Sixers. I talked about this earlier on WagerTalk today. I thought that was the most inexpensive way to bet the Sixers in what should be an easy series for them. Minus 2.5, minus 150. I'll say this. Yesterday, I took a look at the Clippers plus 2.5 games against Phoenix. I mean, to me, that series at worst is a 4-2 series. Plus 2.5 with the Clips, you were only laying 25 cents. Today, you're laying 50. So there's been some action on that in particular. People grabbing the Clippers plus 2.5 games, back to what Skee was saying, where he said he doesn't trust either of them. So maybe still the Clippers plus 2.5 games worth a look there. But otherwise, we're going to see these play-ins are interesting. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I don't know, other than the LA Lakers, I don't know that any of these 8 teams can be a disruptive force from here on out. But we'll see. We'll see how this rolls.
That's got music to Skee's ears right there, man. We'll get to the Lakers here in just a minute, but there it is. That's it. That's the GM, baby, right there. It don't get any better than that. That's it. Skee is getting ready, people. Got the suit out and everything. All right, here we go. We're going to start with the first game here tonight, though, playing wise. Down the road from me here as Miami getting ready as the 7th seed to take on the 8th seed Atlanta Hawks. 4.5s and 5s in the marketplace, 227.5, as high as 228, 228.5, which is interesting to say the least here in this one. That'll tip off 7:30 Eastern time here tonight. And I find that interesting, Teddy, because 7 of the last 10 that these two teams have played total-wise, it's gone under. These games are a lot more grind them out with these two teams as opposed to, free-for-all, high-flying scoring games. The total has been creeping up and being bet up here in the market since the 226 open. Are you agreeing with the market that, hey, it's the playoffs and we're expecting less defense from Miami tonight? What are you thinking?
Well, so just to point out, there were some books open 229.5. Sorry, some books open 227.5. Some books open 228.5. Some books open 226, and the markets kind of settled at the 227.5. I wouldn't call it a movement in one direction or the other. It's just been the markets are taking the extreme numbers. This is a game that seems, in my mind, very little sharp action other than cherry picking numbers when it comes to the total. Last year, all of these games stayed under. The 2 Wednesday games stayed under. The 2 Thursday games stayed under. The Tuesday games, the Wednesday games, and the Friday games. All 3 sets of the games cashed under. Tickets 6-0 to the under. The relatively short history of the play-in game is all about unders. But I ain't playing this game under. I'm not going to do it. And that's why it's here. That's why it's not a client play for me tonight, because the only way I can look at it is to an over. Whatever Miami was supposed to be defensively this year, they haven't been. Flat out. However, from an offensive efficiency standpoint, this is a team that played, and Rob Vino, I'm sure, is going to talk about this when he breaks down Miami, because I heard him talk about it earlier today on WagerTalk today, about how the Heat have honed their offensive efficiency down the stretch of the campaign. Atlanta's not a defensive team. They're not going to beat teams defensively. And the Hawks are certainly a team that is more than capable of lighting up the scoreboard. So even though these play-in games have trended heavily to the under, the only way I can play this one is over the total.
Like the up and over for up and over the and I mean, listen, it's funny, Vino, that he mentions that, because the Heat have it. To me, it's like pre-break and after break. Like prior to the break, a lot of people, the Heat defensively, one of the better, more efficient defense in the league. But, something transitioned in the second half where all of a sudden they were 22nd, 23rd in efficiency. They weren't playing any defense. The games were flying over. So do we flip a switch again here? Are the Heat going to go back to this defensive juggernaut, or is this just a sign of things to come here for the Heat tonight?
Yeah, I think it's probably a sign of things to come, Joe, because I think they've committed to it. We all read a lot of articles. We all do a lot of research. And it was in the beginning, I didn't quite feel like it was going to be. But you read between the lines of what Eric Spoelstra was saying going back even pre-break, Joe. And it seemed like he understood that his defense was not the playoff caliber lockdown defense that they had a couple of years back. And so they made kind of a conscious effort to try to score more points up until, if you look at overall season numbers, you'll see that they average, I think, 108 per game for the season. But since February 1st, let's go with the last 19 games. Last 19 games they've played, if you go back to February 1st, it's 20. But the last 19, they played 13 times out of 19. The Heat have scored 112 or more. That's 4 over their average at minimum. A lot of it has to do with, and Teddy talked about the word efficiency. And if you're going to be efficient and you're going to be Miami, you're going to give the ball to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler had a bunch of big games down the stretch offensively as far as point production is concerned. Got involved with assists, got involved with a lot of things. So Miami, to me, has made a conscious effort to go a little more offensive, knowing that their defense isn't going to win them a 7-game series anymore. 13 of those 19, Joe, have gone over the total. Tonight, you get an Atlanta game at 228. When's the last time we saw an Atlanta game at 228? Generally, they're in the 240s, right? But it's because Miami is always priced by perception. The perception of Miami is slowest, play defense, and you're not going to get a lot of points. So you can capitalize on this to the tune of, I think if you shorten this up, I'm going to give you some first quarter numbers here, okay? First quarter on the season, Miami's the 4th best over team in the NBA, 48-33-1. That's 59% overs for the Miami Heat, generally because they're priced so, methodically paced by bookmakers, haven't really adjusted. If you're the Hawks, you need the other side to come and score as well. They're number 11 overall in overs, 44-37-1. It's because they're priced much, much higher. But Miami at home this season, Joe, Miami at home is 29-11 to the over with one push. That's 72.5% of their home games have gone over. And the Hawks on the road,
crazy,
25-15-1 on the road for the Hawks. That's 62.5% over. And these are first quarter numbers I'm giving you there with those two. So Miami's gotten off the quick starts, more offense than defense. Hawks the same. That could correlate to a play here today. I do think that, again, if you go through the 4 games that they played this season, you'll find 2 have gone over today's number of 58. 2 didn't. There's reasons why the 2 that didn't. But the 2 that did went way over. So if you're looking to play, if you're afraid to play a full game over, maybe you want to shorten it up and play a first quarter over 58 here.
Yeah, it's perception reality a lot of times with both these teams here, Skee. But let me ask you a question. I had this argument too. Who's the best player on the court tonight? Which team do they play on?
That is a fair and a good question. I'll answer the question like this. Who do I trust more tonight? I think I trust Jimmy Butler the most, just because every time I've seen him play I've seen him play the Hawks, he kind of gets whatever he wants. If he wants to score, if he wants to get to the free throw line, he's doing that. He gets into the painted area. The defense collapses. He's finding his teammates. It just seems like Jimmy Butler gets whatever he wants compared to if you look on the flip side, if you say Trae Young is the best player on Atlanta, I mean, they've had a pretty solid game plan on how to defend him. They just blitz him, get the ball out of his hands, and make the rest of the team beat them. So to answer your question, Joe, in this game tonight, I would say Jimmy Butler. But I'm not sure, and this is what I've been struggling with today. I'm not sure that same exact game plan is going to work just because they didn't have DeJounte Murray last season. Like when they go and blitz and trap Trae Young, he can just dump it off to DeJounte Murray and let him make the decisions with the defense at a disadvantage. So if you guys follow me last year, it's the same kind of how I talked about Steph and Draymond do when they double team Steph. That's what I think Atlanta should do tonight if Miami's comes with that defensive game plan. And if they do, I would agree with, kind of how both of these guys were leaning. I think both teams can score here. The numbers that Rob was mentioning, you can go full game too. Atlanta 24-15-2 to the over on the road. Miami 24-16 to the over at home. And Miami just been playing a lot more offensively lately. I know they've gone over their last 5 games in general, their last 7 at home. And all we need is those guys to be knocking down those threes. So I prefer the over in this game. I think both sides will contribute. And I agree with what Rob said. Like, this is a Miami total, but it's not that same Miami defensive team. They're scoring a lot more. And for the Hawks, totals less than 230. They've gone over 10 of their last 13. I think you can also go with Heat team total over. Hawks just really aren't playing any defense. I want to say 13 of their last 15 opponents have scored 116 plus. So I like the over. I really like the Heat side as well, just because they've shown me more of what I can trust, more than, I don't want to depend on what to expect. If this was a series, I bet more like that. But in a one game, I trust the better coach, the home team, and the better player who's Jimmy Butler. So Heat over. Those are the ways I like this game.
All right. Well, might as well throw out another question. So, who is Trae Young playing for next year? Because it sure as shit don't look like it's going to be the Hawks. All right, so we got one other game going on here tonight. Just a total dumpster fire. My goodness. We do have a second game here tonight, of course. Right after Miami and Atlanta, we got Skee's Lakers taking on, talk about a dumpster fire. My goodness. Minnesota, the Timberwolves, up to 8.5 now, 233 is the total in this one. It's shocking. Now, Teddy, I had thought, hey, this is going to end one way with the Lakers winning by 30 or Minnesota rallying around and bringing it together and boat racing the Lakers. I don't think there's any in between here. Tell me what you think about this game here. No Gobert, no McDaniel. Does it really matter at this point?
When we look back at the trade between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Utah Jazz, that was a trade. That may go down as the worst trade in NBA history. Okay, in the history of. I'm just going to read you who the Jazz got: Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker Kessler, who, by the way, I would take right now before I took Rudy Gobert. Okay, Jared Vanderbilt, Beasley, Beverly, Vanderbilt, all for playoff teams, all playing, important roles on playoff teams. And by the way, 4 future first-round picks all this decade and a pick swap in between. That, my friends, was a fleecing. Sorry to get distracted. But with Gobert being out for the T-Wolves' most important game of the year because he was an idiot, okay, and because Kyle Anderson is really hard to deal with, supposedly, And then you have the Naz Reid injury. But of all of them, the McDaniels injury is the one that hurts the most. He's going to be the guy that comes in and tries to check LeBron. And guess what? He ain't doing that now. He's going to be sitting on the sidelines in street clothes. Where does that leave Minnesota? Look, we see it all the time. And that's why I'm not playing this game. We see the team that just faced adversity and just everything went wrong and players got hurt. This is the game they're supposed to step up. Wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota steps up. Wouldn't be shocked if LA looks past them. It happens every day in the NBA, even in the postseason. Remember, this isn't the must-win game The next game, if they lose this one, is the must-win game. So stranger things have happened than Minnesota hanging around this game for a long, long time. But at the same time, as Rob Vino said earlier, there's only one team that's playing in a playing game and is eventually will be disruptive. That's the Lakers. They could blow this team out. They could kill them. Wouldn't shock me. I'm Switzerland. I don't know what to do with it. I will watch and learn.
Intriguing stuff there. Worst in the history, Vino. And can I tell you?
And there have been so many bad trades, Joe.
It's hard to argue.
There have been so many awful trades that have set franchise back decades. This is that.
Yep. Remember how many people couldn't stand Gobert when he left Utah? Well, it's happening again. At what point, Vino, does maybe, Rudy, you need to look in the damn mirror here? It ain't everyone else. Maybe it's you, Rudy. Cough on this. What are you thinking here, Vino? Well, let Skee get the last word with the Lakers because you know where he's going. Teddy was nice enough to throw the Switz flag up there, though, but he did give us, guys, let's be realistic here. He did give us the worst trade ever, so I love that there. And Vino, you're going to give us the winner of this game, or at least half a winner of this game. Where are we rolling here tonight?
Isn't it funny that Rudy Gobert, in his apology, said that he loves and respects Kyle Anderson, and Kyle Anderson told him he's a little bitch that can't get a rebound. So I don't know how that love doesn't go both ways. He's absolutely wrecked it on me again, Joe. This is funny. And I'll get to this in a minute, but I wanted to play this game under. Yesterday afternoon, I was doing a mid-afternoon show here on the East Coast with Jay Money, and we were both talking up the under, and then the news came down that Rudy Gobert was suspended. And I was saying this to Skee earlier. We all know, all four of us here know that how these injuries go. As soon as a starter is ruled out, you play the other side and you play under. But in the case of Rudy Gobert, teed me off because as soon as he goes out, you can't play under anymore. Right now, Karl Anthony Towns is at the rim. It becomes a totally different game where slowness of pace. You have the combination of Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert together, and you could be guaranteed methodical pace and defense out of the T-Wolves. Not only that, but as Teddy mentioned, Jaden McDaniels punches a wall. He's the best wing defender on the team. So all my under theories went out the window with that. I see the game now being bumped up from 232.5 to 233. Can't really play the total because I could see it going either way. I will say this about conspiracy theories. And again, I'm going to bring up our friend and colleague, Jay Money, who last night cracked me up because I saw him actually yelling back at Woj from ESPN on Twitter, telling him to knock it off with the Rudy Gobert stories because he understands that everybody in the world wants the Lakers' price to go up and up. We've been here 100+ times this year where star players get ruled out and the other team wins. Minnesota's been scrappy, guys, the last 6 weeks. It's a team I had an asterisk next to that I thought really had a chance. They don't have a chance. But I'm with Teddy. I don't want to lay 8.5. There's no how, no way. If I had more guts, I'd pull the trigger on the T-Wolves plus 8.5. This actually is one of those, these 7-8s are safety net games. If you lose, you'll get a second chance. Winner automatically is in. You'll get a second chance. So maybe we can look at the Timberwolves differently in a couple of days if they lose tonight. But I'm hard-pressed to give you anything here other than I really liked under, and if I had to lean, I would still lean under 233 because I think the Lakers' defensive intensity will be ramped up here for the playoffs.
All right. Well, Skee, final word here. I will say this, though. He's got a point. We have seen this. And I believe before Gobert, there were reports, if I saw maybe 5.5 is what the look ahead was. And we're up to 8.5, Skee. That's either going to it's no sweat for you or you're going, oh, man, come on. Like, really? 8.5? What are you doing in this game, Skee?
Well, first, I have to say, I think Well, I'll start like this. I think the best way to play this game, obviously, I'll disagree. I can't leave it alone. I got to disagree with Teddy and Rob.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we've seen it plenty of times, right, where the team has a star player out, and then the other team doesn't care anymore. But this is not regular season. This is not just any other game, 82 season. This is like close to playoff time. The Lakers have been locked in ever since the trade deadline. If you look at how they've been playing lately, they've won 9 of their last 11 games. Why would they look at this game now that they've gotten to a chance to make the playoffs and say, oh, we can just lollygag and, it doesn't matter anymore? I don't see this game going that way, especially versus a team in the Timberwolves who, and I know the Lakers just beat them, but there was a game earlier this season where Karl Anthony Towns was talking big shit and yapping at LeBron and everybody and letting them know they don't forget those kind of things. So I think they'll still take this game serious. They're clearly the better team. So I'll just leave that at that. I'll say if you want to bet the Lakers, I'm not running to the window to lay double digits. I think the best way to bet the Lakers or, play on their side is you heard one of the guys, I forget if it was Teddy or Rob, maybe both of them mentioned, you're going to be without McDaniels, who's the guy who's usually guarding LeBron, and you're going to be without Rudy Gobert, who's the guy protecting the rim. LeBron should have a field day. I mean, he's been playing good offensively anyway. He scored 30 plus 3 of his last 4 games. His point prop is 28.5 tonight. I think you bet on him. Other than that, the most consistent guy for the Lakers has been Austin Reeves. His assist prop continues to cash. They raised it a little bit, still cashing. They dropped it back to 4.5 because D'Lo and LeBron have come back in the lineup, but he's still the best playmaker as far as I'm concerned for the team. So he's cleared that 4.5 number, 14 of his last 18 games. They're giving you plus 120 to take it here tonight. I think that's a good bet. If you like the Timberwolves side, I think you bet on Anthony Edwards. They're going to be blown out of this game if he doesn't have a big night tonight. You can do PRA. I specifically am going to focus on rebounds and assists just because first, he got challenged by his coach a few weeks ago. He said that the Timberwolves are a much better team when he's creating for others. And since then, he's been clearing his 3.5 assist prop. He averages like 4.5 on the season, so that was really low anyway. And then if you have Gobert out, who's their best rebounder, and then they're missing they're missing Reed. I think he's another good rebounder for them. And it's another good rebounder too who's also out. So the next best one is Karl Anthony Towns, and after that is Anthony Edwards. So I like his rebounds plus assists over 11.5 tonight. I think that's the best bet for the Timberwolves side, and I'm talking about Anthony Edwards. So those are the ways I think to play this game. Side and total, I'll let everybody else have it. You guys know who I'm rooting for.
All right, so here lies the problem, Teddy. All right, and that was a calm. I can't let it slip. Skee there. I thought that was very reserved, Skee. That was outstanding. I was ready for you to blast both Teddy and Vino here. I thought that was very well done, man. But Teddy, here lies the problem in this game because both these teams, both the Miami game and this Laker game, they know there's a tomorrow if they lose, right? So if one of these teams is out in front who's emptying the tank in this game, which may, I don't know, mess the total up somewhere along the line, maybe towards the end of the game if the game's out of reach. I mean, should we be worried that if this thing is really out of reach here with 5-6 minutes, are we really going to empty the tank to try and win a game we know we're not winning here, knowing we got to play one more time?
If somebody's down 20 with 5 minutes left, they'll probably sit starters. Okay? If that happens, I would think. But predicting who's going to be down 20 and if anyone's going to be down 20 is another question entirely. Yes.
Right.
And I let me start with this. I agree with everything that Skee said. I agree wholeheartedly that the Lakers are going to show up tonight. That it's not a game they're not going to look past. But 8.5 is a different animal than showing up or looking ahead. And that was the issue with LA. It's a price tag. It's not whether they're going to win the game. You want to win. Asking LA to win the game is not. Again, there's dumber bets to make. But we've also seen the other team without the stars that's faced the adversity get hot. It just happens so often that you can't forget it, even in the postseason. So I was talking about the past, but the player props he was talking about, man. It makes a ton of sense. If Minnesota's hanging, Ant is going over. Period. He's going over everything.
Yep.
the LeBron points prop makes a ton of sense without Minnesota's best wing defender, and on down the line. So, there's bets to be made here. It's not side or total for me.
Yeah, it's tough because of that fact, Vino, that we know there's an extra game. Even, that if you're not in a position to win this thing, plus, Gobert's coming back. So, will the back door be open in some of these games here tonight? Will the total get screwed up? There are going to be, I think, some live betting opportunities here as well, Vino, tonight in some of these games. Splitting it into half, right? We've done that a lot. First half, second half. There's some opportunities here tonight, I think, in-game betting as well.
Yeah, there very well could be, Joe. And the same reasoning that you're using here of the safety net goes to the Atlanta-Miami game as well, right? If somebody's getting blown out there, the same thing could happen, right? And as Teddy mentioned, it's hard to predict. Let me just first, I don't have exact gold, but I just want to wave the purple and yellow for Skee for defending the Lakers against me and Teddy.
Ooh,
there, I got the colors for him. And if either of us two were Tony Finn, we would have taken the hard shot to the chin. We got it soft because we're me and Teddy. If it were Tony Finn, he would have got it. I talked earlier about Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns prop, I think, has to be played here. Points, rebounds, assists. He has incrementally got better and better and better last 3 games. I think he went 38, 42, and 40 over his last 3 games. The subtraction of rebounds was talked about here. It falls on his shoulders. He can shoot some threes. Anthony Edwards, point total, I wouldn't be surprised, over 27.5. And LeBron, really, until the injury, I had been riding that train PRA with LeBron James up until he got injured and sat out for quite a while. So, like Teddy, I can agree with all the props that Skee has here. I actually played one of those. In game, I don't know. Maybe sit around at the half, see what's going on. And Minnesota at some point, Joe, last point I'll make on this game, their bench is so thin right now with all of the absences, without Nasri, without Jalen Noel, without McDaniels, without Gobert. I was reading off their bench earlier this afternoon when me and Skee were going through this. Jordan McLaughlin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Austin Rivers, who none of us want a part of, Nathan Knight. Those are your first 4 off the bench. To your point about where you grind the starters are basically the only guys that have any game in this game. So
it's true.
It's true. Does Chris Finch grind them or not? I'm not sure. But a second game, a second chance at home with Gobert against New Orleans or Oklahoma City, probably more appealing to the T-Wolves.
So, Teddy, let me ask you one final question. Odds when Skee is going to go, I wish we still had Russell Westbrook. Over or under 3 games into the... No, I'm only kidding. We're good to go. We are good to go. We are definitely taking the over. All right, before we get a couple of best bets out of you guys here for the next couple of days worth of games, you can choose anything you want to at this point here, as we still got to get through the playing round before we begin the playoffs on the weekend. You guys saw, you might have seen the graphic there. We'll throw it up one more time. If you happen to be joining us, catching us for the first time here at WagerTalk, we want to say thank you and want to give you an opportunity to use that coupon code TRYWT. That's right, TRYWT, and that'll take 50% off any of your very first purchases here at WagerTalk, whether it be with Skee Profit, whether it be Rob Vino, whether it be with Teddy Covers. You can head over to our pages right now, guys. If you are new to WagerTalk, use that code TRYWT and get 50% off any of your daily packages or 3-day all-access pass, which, hint, hint, the best way to go about it right now. Take advantage, guys. Use that code TRYWT and welcome to WagerTalk. All right, so let's do it here now. We got a lot of we got games coming up tomorrow as well, but Skee, kick us off here with a best bet. 60 seconds on the clock. You know how it rolls. Give us a little something here tonight we can run to the window with.
Yeah, we might as well keep the theme going. We've been kicking the Timberwolves and saying how absolutely garbage they are, right? So let's just pile it on. I like the Timberwolves to miss the playoffs. That's plus. I got plus 200. Go ahead and line shop and see what the best number you guys can get. But we don't think they're going to win this game tonight. We've already talked about how much defense they're missing, how much their bench is depleted. They're over there fighting each other on the sidelines. They're on the road. I mean, I don't see a whole lot of positives for this Minnesota team tonight. And in my mind, the team that they're going to face next should be the Pelicans. Pelicans are a 5-point favorite. They should beat the Thunder. And Pelicans have been playing really good basketball lately. They've won 9 of their last 12 games. I would be trusting the way Ingram has been playing versus – and also the Pelicans are the more healthy team. So I just think the Timberwolves are falling apart at the worst part of the season. So you're giving me plus 200 for them to lose 2 more games? Give it to me.
Damn. Yeah. Screw you, Minnesota. No Minnesota love at all from Skee Profit here. Shocker, Teddy. I know. Shocker. I really thought he'd be throwing all sorts of accolades over there at the T-Wolves. Talk to me, Teddy. 60 seconds on the clock. Is there a game or a series that piques your interest coming up here?
Yeah, let's talk about Sacramento and Golden State on Saturday night, game 1 of this series. And we talked a lot about the under trend that's prevalent in the play-in games, in round 1 games, and the NBA postseason as a whole. And yet, all the sharp money in this game is coming for the over. I think it's coming for good reason. We think of the Warriors as a championship team, an elite defensive team. How they win the title last year? They finished number 1 in defensive efficiency. This year, they're number 17 in defensive efficiency. Sacramento, number 1 in offensive efficiency. But on defense, they rank 25. Teams with the worst D than the Kings this year: Blazers, Pistons, Rockets, Spurs, Pacers. That's not a good list to be on. And by the way, pace-wise, they're going to play fast. Golden State played fastest pace rating in the NBA. I think we see fireworks on Saturday night. Play the over.
Ooh, love it. Expecting points, and more points. Great look there, Teddy and Vino. You got it, man. The floor is yours. 60 seconds. Gad, give us a little something here coming up.
God help the Lakers. God help Skee if the Lakers don't win tonight. We'll all be there for you.
Oh, no. It'll be 24/7 tomorrow. We're going live 24/7 from Skee's house.
Call the helpline. Please call the helpline. I'll go ahead and I'll do a look ahead bet here, Joe, because I think this number is going to go up. So let's give it out today. I like the Sixers in the series against Brooklyn, minus 2.5 games, minus 150. Joel Embiid, first of all, it's, that's the cherry picking right there, right? Against Nick Claxton should be an easy series for him. I like the Sixers bench, what they've created there with Melton and McDaniels, both good defenders, Niang, Milton, and Paul Reed. Sixers kind of have a defensive advantage. Skee talked about it. Brooklyn, we expected with all the guys they acquired to be better defensively than they are. They're not. Sixers went 4-0 against this team in a season series. It's reminiscent of a few years ago, big versus little. Give me Sixers, minus 2.5 games, minus 150 for the series.
Boom! Love it. All right, guys, there you go. One more time. Let's take a look here just to recap. Skee Profit going with Minnesota to win it. To miss the playoffs there at plus 200. He is good to go there. Teddy Cover is looking at the Golden State Sacramento over. Game 1, guys. 239, expecting some points in this one. And Vino, well, he's going to look at that series price. Late at 2.5 games with Philadelphia. It should be quick and painless, as they say, for the Sixers to move on. And don't forget, guys, again, if you head over to WagerTalk.com, you can visit Skee's page, Teddy's page, Rob's page. They got their best bets lock loaded, ready to roll. Teddy's got one tonight in this in one of these matchups here, guys. I believe Heat versus Hawks. You can go grab that right now over at his page. Skee locked, loaded, ready to go here in I'm guessing it's probably Laker oriented, but you can still go check it out over in there. And of course, Rob Vino ready to go. He's got a bunch of plays that he loves already, not only Major League Baseball for all three of these gentlemen, but Rob's got some plays coming up with these games here over the next couple of days. So really, there is no reason for you guys not to head over there and visit them and make this one hell of a profitable NBA playoffs. And once again, for those of you just joining us and new to Wager Talk, checking it out, make sure you write this down. Try WT, TRYWT. Use that at checkout. Get 50% off your very first daily or 3-day all-access pass with any one of these guys. Use that code today. Try WT. And all right, gentlemen, this should be an awful lot of fun. We're off and running into playing games. We'll be back tomorrow. We got a couple of more games to discuss, and of course, it's all leading to getting ready for the craziness that will begin this weekend. So we will be back tomorrow. Hope you guys will join us. On behalf of Skee, Teddy, Rob, we appreciate the time. Wishing you guys nothing but the best here tonight with all your plays. Come back and join us again tomorrow. And again, if the Lakers don't win, we will have welfare checks on Skee throughout the day. Make sure you tune in. We'll make sure all is good to go there. But in all serious, guys, best of luck with all your plays here. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. See you soon.
Baseball is back, and with the NBA and NHL playoffs around the corner, we have a fantastic offer to keep you in action from the first pitch to the kickoff of the upcoming NFL season. We have you covered with every client release, including any 5% best bets from your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo handicapper from the day you sign up to the 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame game when the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets kick off at 8 p.m. on Thursday, August 3rd for under $4.50 per day, coming out to just $32 per week. To lock in your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo expert through the start of the NFL preseason, it would cost you well over $1,000. Before a limited time, pay only $4.99, coming out to just under $4.51 per day. As an added bonus, your access begins when you sign up, so the earlier you do, the more free days you get. This offer will include all sports and any 5% best bets played during this time. So lock back in your favorite Sports Memo handicapper through the start of the football season for the lowest price possible. This incredible playoffs to preseason kick ends at midnight on Monday, April 17th.